Okay, so COVID hits. We're in a situation where a lot of races are cancelled or postponed, or initially postponed and then cancelled. And some of the athletes I'm speaking to, they're losing motivation. Why should we train when there's no event to train for? Like, why should we train this hard when there's no race to prepare for? This was the type of conversation that I was having. And what I saw was, there's two types of motivation, and everyone's on the spectrum at some point, but some people were extrinsically motivated, which meant that they needed that race in order to train towards, in order to keep getting up every day, in order to train towards, in order to get that race result, to say that I am a 2:59 marathoner, or I'm a 39-minute 10K runner, or I've got this trophy for winning the race, or I've got this prize money, or whatever it was that was important to them. And then you had the intrinsically motivated people that no matter whether there was a race, no matter how long we thought COVID was going to go on for, they loved going out and training because they loved the process. They loved the idea of getting up in the morning, having something like running to look forward to. And I realized that that was such a more powerful motivation than the extrinsic motivations. Yeah, everybody enjoys kind of getting patted on the back, you've done great, etc. I understand that, but if it's for you, and it's for you personally, and you can say, okay, I'm getting up today because I'm gonna do this recovery run, and tomorrow I'm gonna do this easy run, and then I've got the interval run to look forward to, and then I've got the long run because I'm building towards a final destination which looks like, you know, my optimal fitness. That's so much more motivating and so much more powerful as an intrinsic motivation than the extrinsic motivation. So I wanted to prove that. And so I'm stuck in Thailand until June 2020. Borders were closed, etc. Got back to Spain, and I thought that my life was going to be 2 years at least in Spain. So I set my camp down, I got my treadmill in my house, etc., just in case there's any more problems. Spain had opened up and started to become quite relaxed. And it got towards winter, colds arrived again, and hospitals were under pressure. So they started to lock down, and Spain was locked down again, and I literally kind of like freaked out. I thought I could be locked in my apartment for the next 6 to 8 weeks, like had happened already at the start of the pandemic. So I freaked out, and I moved initially to the Canary Islands. And whilst I was in the Canary Islands, I looked at going back to Thailand, because Thailand, although they'd been strict, they were now going back to a very relaxed mentality when it came to COVID. So at the same point, all this is going on, Nike had asked me, okay, how can we motivate people at home? How can we get people to a point where, yes, there's no races, there's no events to look forward to, but how can we kind of like keep people motivated and working out in the houses? And what we did initially was we were doing some interviews with different celebrities, different people with great stories. Maybe they'd been addicted to something and now they'd turned that around in life, and they were doing triathlon or cycling or running. It was brilliant, and it was brilliant to speak to those people. But we also wanted to show what we could do in order to show that you don't need a race. You don't need an event to prepare for in order to get up and run every day, to train to be your optimal shape. So we were doing workouts like 20 times 400 meters. How about, instead of going to the race, you work on getting as fast as you possibly can to do 20 times 400 meters with 60 seconds rest. And that can be your gold medal, that can be your race, that can be something to train towards. And once you get good at that, by the way, there's a knock-on effect, and you become a great marathon runner, a great 10K runner. It works really well for a lot of races. Then what we decided to do, and this was kind of my idea together with Nike, we wanted to set, I said, I'm going to fly to Thailand, I'm going to be locked in a quarantine hotel for 2 weeks. And I'm going to go crazy in that hotel room, literally bouncing off the walls, if I don't have a treadmill. So how about we have a treadmill in the room, we rent a bigger room, and it was expensive. We rent a bigger room, and we have a treadmill in the room. I'm training every day, and then on Christmas Day, 25th of December 2020, we go for the world record for 50K uphill. And we looked at different world records, world record for marathon, world record for 50K, world record for 100K flat, and then hill running is where my speciality was. And I loved it, absolutely loved it, because I got to train specifically the time leading up to Thailand and then the time in Thailand. I got to train specifically for something that was going to be an unofficial world record if I beat it. And I was training 5% gradient, 50K, and the way that we recorded it was on Zwift. So we recorded it on Zwift, I would run on Zwift, you could follow me on Zwift, and we also did the first hour on YouTube Live. And so people were watching to a certain extent, but I was just there in the hotel room with initially a small tiny fan that they got me from the hotel. It was super sweet in this Thai hotel. And then I needed to order lots of other fans in order to try to keep me cool during this pursuit. And also the air conditioning was on its lowest, but the room temperature was probably 28, 29 degrees. And it was, the great thing about it, it was just like any other training session. It was just like you're going out there and you're pushing yourself because you know that the overall goal, the bigger picture, is for me to get better as an athlete, to get better as a 50K runner, to get better as a 100K runner, to get better as an ultra runner. And so I was able to push it, and my heart rate was high throughout the duration. I was really pushing it. There was some cramps towards the end. I was looking after my nutrition, but it still happened. And it was just me alone in this room. Remember that nobody else was allowed in that room because of COVID laws. So I had to have like five drinks of Morton 320 mix, and they were all kind of ready. And then I'd have to have a table and then boxes stacked on the table in order to reach these drinks whilst I was running, and then have water on the side, enough water to last for the 4 hours. And the record that we ran in the end was 3 hours 37 for 5% 50K uphill. And that brought a lot of attention from the media, and a lot of people, a lot of TV eyes wanted to report on it, which was great because it showed people that it wasn't important that you had a race to look forward to or you had an event. You go and make your own challenge. And that could be on a treadmill in a quarantine hotel in Bangkok, or it could be in the beautiful nature somewhere where you are, or it can be on your streets. It doesn't matter. You can do it on the roads or whatever. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you're working towards something and you're gradually moving forward. And that's what we need. Whatever we're trying to do, whether it's work, whether it's in our lives, whether it's relationships, whether it's sport, we want to know that we have purpose, we're useful, we're moving forward, and we're growing as a person. That is such a bigger motivation than thinking, okay, if I do that, I'm going to get this trophy for finishing, or I'm going to get this winner's medal for finishing, or even I'm going to get this prize money for finishing. The intrinsic motivation that you have is the most powerful thing you have. And if you can tap into it properly and really look forward to it and build your own challenges, you're unstoppable. Good luck. And if you got any alpha from this, like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments like what you're training for right now, and how has COVID affected your mentality around training. We all had to train, or we all, those who had an opportunity to keep on training, we kept on training, but some people didn't. Those people in Spain and Italy especially, they were very badly affected because of the multi-generational household and how quickly COVID spread. They were locked in their apartments and houses for 6, 7, 8 weeks. So we were lucky if we were able to train, and there was often a cap put on it. You can run 3 or 5 kilometers from your house. How did COVID affect you, and how did it maybe change your mentality towards something like running? Perhaps you got started in running during COVID because you didn't have access to your team sport like football or cricket or whatever you were trying to do. So perhaps running was the only go-to you had. So let me know in the comments what you're training for right now, how COVID affected your training, what your mentality is towards training.